hmm all right, party people. This your man Griff. Whew, I know I'm late getting to the party. Um, but y'all know on Friday nights I actually do have a lot that I'm trying to get done. Um, okay, all right, and helping our beloved notaries out. And I didn't even see this order. New order just came. I probably done missed it for the 15th. Think. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I missed it. Um, the 15th at 6 p.m. Let's see. It's probably already been taken. Yep. Yep, I missed that one. Oh, that came in at 7:30. What's going on in grip? Oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh man, oh man. Good to see you. Yeah, I don't know how many people gonna hop on because it's a little late. And one of the things I have to do, um, hey, good, yeah. Yeah. One of the things I have to do every Friday night and is make sure money is transferred over into our personal accounts. So if there's any bills we have to pay, things of that nature, money is in the accounts to pay over the weekend. Any last minute checks that come in through Deluxe, try to get those in before my bank closes the mobile deposit, which is 7 p.m. Eastern. Um, at least what 7 p.m. Eastern here since I'm on the Eastern time. And then making sure I have groceries done, So I had to go do some grocery shopping and all of that. Then pick up the wife, pick up my son, then come home and eat, decompress a little bit, and then hop on here. So, and then I'm going to be getting ready for the notary certificate training, which is tomorrow. And so I was like, I'm gonna do Fritter Friday. I don't know what we're gonna talk about. We'll talk about whatever y'all want to talk about, and go from there, Um, but I just figured I said, let me hop up here like I already planned to do, and we will do what it do. Um, and let me see here, and I'm just changing up a few last minute things. So ask any questions that you have. Let us know where you're coming from. Um, yeah, where are y'all coming from? Yeah, I always like to know where y'all coming from. And I'm just adding in some stuff that I didn't get a chance to do earlier. 12 p.m. EST. So y'all know I'm here in Virginia. So where is it? Oh man, I don't. Where the heck is that thing I'm looking for? I'll just make another one. All right. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Certificate training. All right. So like I said, we got notary certificate training coming up. And the information is in the description. And if you are interested, if you need to know how to do this job the right way for us notarizing the signatures on the documents, this is the training for you. This here's the link. And let me put it in the live chat for y'all. Let me make sure I get that in the live chat. And y'all just work with me. Y'all know always got a lot going on and stuff. And go over to my channel, open up and then type it into the chat. All right. All right. So notary.setmore.com for notary Certificate training. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? And that certificate training is tomorrow, and one's class is on Saturday, the 11th, the other class is on Sunday, the 12th, and then I'm gonna have another one on the 18th. So if you know somebody who is struggling, even if you want to bless them and pay for their registration or go half and half or whatever you want to do, or if you know they have the financial resources, send them to the link, and I'll get them taken care of. So tomorrow's 11th, from noon to 3, then Sunday 3 to 6 p.m., and then on the 18th from noon to 3. And then and I'm a later this weekend, I'll put the November schedule up, and it'll be the first couple of weekends in November. And I'm thinking, if anybody is interested, because I didn't realize and I forgot, and this here's the cost: 3 hour Zoom training, $40, 10 persons maximum. I forgot about the oh, you can't hear me? Hold on. Check one. Yeah, I can hear myself. Okay, I can hear myself. I can hear me, Shannon. Yeah. Okay, okay. All right. I was about to say, okay, I am not muted. Okay. All right, cool. But yeah, if there's anybody who can't do the trainings that I just showed y'all, and y'all may want to do it on this upcoming Monday, because I don't have any signings on Monday the 13th, Columbus Day. Um, if you are interested, then let me know. And where is the email that you need to hit me up? Um, certificate training. All right. So if you are interested in doing something on Columbus Day, the 13th, right here, I'll set up a class for that, and then y'all can register and everything. But I didn't even think about it until later this afternoon, that Columbus Day, and I was like, oh man, I might could do some training that day, because I don't have any signings for tomorrow, Sunday, or Monday. So, oh, I'm sorry, I do have one on Monday. I'm sorry, one came in for $100. I couldn't pass that up. So if y'all want to do training, I can do it early morning, maybe 10, 11, 12 o'clock, something like that. At least at the latest 10, 12 o'clock till 3. And that gives me time to go do my closing at 5. So if you're interested, just go there and put the subject certificate training and give me an idea of a time, and then I will figure something out and all that good stuff. All right. So what are we gonna do about all of this? Okay, so okay, it's me. Hello, back in. Gotcha. Hey, good evening to you, Greg. Good evening. We got a lot going on, y'all. You know, I was thinking about the government shutdown, and I don't even know how long, how many days it's been. So, how long has the government shutdown been? I don't even know how many days it's been. Um, Most recent. Okay. It's not even giving me. I don't know how many days it's been. Here's a government shutdown clock. I guess I don't even know if that's accurate or not. Okay, 9 days. There it is. 9 days, 22 hours, 4 minutes, and 20 some seconds. All right. So the government's been shut down for 9 days. You know, I thought about, and I was looking at a video and I posted it on the community tab. I wonder how many people who are being affected by the government shutdown are thinking about those $80 closings. Hmm? They're probably like, you know what? Doing a closing for $85, $80, $90. It's not so bad when you got no money coming in. And now they're talking about not even giving them back pay. $85 look pretty good, don't it? And then the sad part is some of them are being told you can't, well, they're not saying, I don't think directly that you can't go get a second job or something like that, but they're telling them you're on call in some cases. And I think the more essential personnel people. And I'm like, so here you don't have, you're supposed to go to work, but you can't get paid, and you may not get any back pay, and you're being put in a position where you can't make any money. I think you probably would want your spouse to take those $80 orders now. Bump all the dumb stuff. Who cares how much money anybody is making on the other side? You're looking at, I ain't got no money. So what good does it do for me to fuss and complain and worry about how much money the signing company, title company, or lender's getting when I got zero coming in? Now I don't know um, if any of you are being affected by that or you know people, but I wonder how many people who are notaries are like, you know what, I'm gonna take whatever orders come in because I got to get money in the house. And this is why I've been trying to get people to understand that a lot of the people who are complaining about what notaries get paid, they don't understand the industry for as the real estate, the mortgages, and they probably got all kinds of money or some kind of good money taking care of them. A lot of the people I see complaining, they don't have families that they're taking care of. And if they do have a family, they got other money that really is taking care of the family. They got a job, their spouse has a job, they got retirement, they got investments, they got real estate houses and all that paying them rent, paying they getting money off of their rent. So they can fuss about you need to pay me more, but it ain't worth my time. Well, of course it's not. But they're not in a situation like I'm in where I'm the head of the house. My wife is also running a business and I got to make sure everything is taken care of. That's my job. And sitting here worrying about how much a title company is getting, how much a lender is getting, worrying about their interest, how much money they're making off the interest of this. If I'm that concerned about what they're getting, then I need to move on that side of the fence. If you don't like the house that you're living in over here, do what it takes and move over there. The problem is a lot of the people who are complaining, none of them want to move in the realm of being a loan officer, being a title person. They don't want to do that because that's more responsibility. That's more visibility. That's more accountability. But being a notary, you can just sort of, and that's what they want. So I'm it's going to be interesting to see the mindset shift for a lot of people who are notaries and that are being affected negatively by the government shutdown. I wonder how many people are saying, you know what, I wish I would have got that notary commission. I wish I would have got started. I wish I would have took notary certificate training so that I could be prepared and go out here and do this thing. And like the young lady says, not getting paid back pay is wild. And they're talking about there's I guess some kind of loophole that they can use to not pay, even though it might take 30, 60 days, 90 days. For the most part, if you're working with reputable companies out here, you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid. And I'm wondering whether or not all of this stuff I'm dealing with the orders canceling, has something to do with people not being able to basically qualify for the loan anymore. Because if they lost their jobs, that means they may not qualify for that loan anymore. And they're trying to find a way to get this refinance done, but they can't because when the underwriter looks and says, "Whoa, whoa, you just lost your job." Hold up. Hold on, wait a minute. They like, wait a minute. So I'm sitting here looking at one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight closings that got canceled this week on me. They eight that got canceled or put on hold. One of them I gotta say is actually on hold. And I still finished with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, and you could say, and then one, the guy, there was some mix up, so 20. So I ended up doing 20 for this week and still had 8 cancellations. This is wild. This is wild. And then the week prior, no cancellation. So 8 cancellations in 1 week. That's a lot. That is a lot. But I don't know. So what concerns do y'all have? What do you feel you're missing with this business? Because I always like to know, because like I said, if we're talking about growing your business without spending money, one of the things you have to do is articulate what it is, and let's come up with a plan to get you the knowledge. I will say a lot of people are still stuck on understanding the documents, and I know people are, and there's nothing wrong with understanding the process. I've done a video on that. I did a whole video about, the loan process. There's nothing wrong with understanding what the individuals do, like the title company, the settlement company, with the lenders, all of that. But understanding their role doesn't mean that you actually can do your job better. The purpose of people teaching you that is so that you can sort of articulate things about the closing, because it's still this thing of the notary's job is to assist them in making sure this gets closed. But your state law says your job is to be a neutral third party. So how can you be neutral if you're articulating and talking and conversating how to make it work, how to close, and making sure that they understand? Because if they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, that's how can you buy a house when you don't understand what you're doing? Technically you can, but then you have some random notary who just gets thrown in here out of the blue. The person is not an employee of the title company or the signing company or anybody, and the notary comes in, and now you expecting him to make sure that your deal gets done. And I honestly don't believe, I truly don't believe that the lender is actually expecting some random notary who they don't know, that all they know is that here's a picture of this person who's supposed to close, that they're actually expecting this person to come in here and to articulate and be able to answer and be able to make this person feel comfortable about a loan product that the notary had no clue about, had not been briefed on. Nobody talked to the notary about it. Nobody gave you any heads up. All they did was give you some documents an hour before you're supposed to meet them, and you're supposed to be able to go in there confidently to say, "Hey, Fred, I know the numbers might not be what you thought, but look, this is a good deal." I don't get that. $1 billion company is going to put their business into my hands for an hour and say, "Hey, do what you got to do to make it happen." That don't make any sense to me. And my lady Wanda said, as a realtor in order for 22 years, if the lender can't verify income, no closing takes place. And that is correct. And she's had 3 cancellations this week. So I haven't had that many house inspections. Oh, house inspections have been like non-existent. I'm like, so that's why I'm out here grinding. Matter of fact, somebody threw an order out to me, one of my direct clients. It was like, I forgot where the heck did he tell me? Let me see if it's still on my map. He gave me a location today. Here it is. Called. Let me pull it. The best way to do is just show y'all. They gave me a location today. Um, in an area called Reedville, Virginia. Let me present. Share screen. Add the stage. So this is where it's at. But let me give you directions. $2 from my house. And with traffic, it'd probably be 3 hours. From me down here all the way up here. Yeah, all the way up here. This is where they talking about they need me to go. And I said, okay. And we're talking about a price, and I'm waiting to hear back whether they approved it. I got a toll to pay right here. No problem. I'll pay the toll. But you're talking about minimum 2 hours right now, saying 2 hours because there's no traffic. But it's but when earlier it was closer to 3. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. They called me and asked me, and y'all know my philosophy. If you call me, I'm gonna do everything I can to make it happen if I have the time available, and I do. So and that's next on the whenever the 20th is. And I was like, no problem, I'll do it. I will do it. I said, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. So I'm willing to do that. The question is, what are you willing to do? And yes, I gave them a fair price to go over there. And see, I've done many for them, and they do a lot of other work. I do a lot of other work for them. So for me to do this, I'm like, all right, that's no big deal. I'll do it because they give me a lot of other work, and they probably can't find any notary that'll do it because there's somebody that's notaries over here in Richmond that might could go do it. There's notaries over here in Fredericksburg that can do it, but they don't. They probably don't want to go over there. They don't want to drive over there. So no problem. I said I'll do it. This is business. So it says when I sit down with folks, I tell them right up front, I cannot legally go through the documents with you. I can only offer you general information and point to what you may be looking for. You say we can call the lender and title, and that's everybody has a ROLE, has a role. So I stick to doing my job. So one of the things that I've done in growing my business and saving money is actually making sure I understand what I'm supposed to do as a notary in accordance with my state. Now you say, well, yeah, if we know, because a lot of people don't actually know what they're supposed to do. And when you're not confident and sure about what you're supposed to do, you're constantly seeking advice. And then you get into the mode of paying any and everybody for some kind of advice where you could probably figure this thing out yourself. I just thought about, let me make sure I put my sound on vibrate so it's not making a whole bunch of noise in case an order comes in. And y'all know orders do come in on me when I'm sitting here. So I have to, and then another way I've saved money and to help me grow my business is by actually evaluating the information that's coming to me. When I start looking and paying attention to what's being said. So in other words, I've went out and did the research and found out what I'm supposed to do. So if this is what I'm supposed to do, but what you're telling me you're going to teach me has nothing to do with what I'm supposed to do, why am I trying to learn it? Yeah, it might be able to enhance, but if I need help in doing my job and you're unable to help my job, you're telling me how to do all these other things that has nothing to do with me doing my job, then before I spend money on that with you, let me make sure I get my job part solidified. Let me get that down pat. Let me make sure I understand the basics of what I'm supposed to do and not to do. Because if you're teaching me something that I shouldn't be doing, that could get me in trouble if I don't know that I'm not supposed to do it. You're not teaching me that I can't do it. So then I need to find out whether I can do it. And if I learn that this is what I should and shouldn't be doing, and then I compare that to what you're saying you're going to teach me, and what you're going to teach me is contradictory to what I'm supposed to do and not supposed to do, then I'm not spending money with you. Thus, I save myself money and I can invest that money into my business to grow it and to move it forward. You see what I'm saying? I can get real stuff going on. I can have two printers instead of spending my printer money with you to teach me nothing. I can get two printers because if I know how to do my job, I might not be the best marketer, but I at least know how to do my job and I'm in a position to do it whenever somebody calls on me. The worst thing in the world is to have somebody call on you to do a job and you don't know how to do it. So I'd rather be in a situation where I've taken the required training or I've learned the required things that I'm supposed to do. And when somebody calls on me, I can go out there and do it. And that's where I've been at. So with this job here, to go 2 hours away, it's because I know how to do my job. I'm going to be in a remote area, probably very little internet. It's going to be 108 pages. And I'm going to sit down with them for about 20 minutes, 30 at the most. And they're going to sign these documents and I'm going to roll out. So I go 2 hours to spend 20, maybe 30 minutes with them. And then I drive 2 hours back. I'm okay with doing that. I know some of you aren't, and that's fine. But I'm okay with doing that because of the relationship that I have with this company. And when I told him how far, he said, "Oh, he said, are you sure you want to do that?" I said, "Look, if y'all need somebody," I said, "I've gone to an area called Deltaville, which is just south of that." He said, "Yeah, I know where that's at." I said, "So I've done that for y'all." So y'all, I've driven far distances for them, and they know they're like, "Well, we can't find anybody. Hey, give this Griff guy a call. See if he'll do it." Now it's just a matter of whether their leadership will be like, "Okay, we'll pay him." And because I know how to do the closings and I get them done right the first time, and I think I've only had out of maybe over a year of doing it with them, I've only had one thing that I forgot or I missed. I forgot it was something minor. Other than that, there's no mistakes. So you can say I'm 99% error free with them. I've only had one small mistake, and I can't even remember what it was. It was might have been a date or might have been a stamp or something like that. I think it was a stamp that somehow I forgot to stamp something. And I'm like, all right, cool, and got that fixed. But other than that, and even with that, they was like, "Oh, it's no big deal. No, just give us, the all-purpose acknowledgement, dot, dot, dot." I was like, okay, cool. And we got it fixed. So I'm in good with them. And since other notaries won't do it, I'm the go-to notary. That's helping me to make money. So if you're trying to grow your business, the first thing you have to do is learn how to evaluate the information that people are trying to share with you, free or paid information, because free information can be just as deadly. It's free. There's no cost for you to pay to get it, but the cost to implement it could be detrimental. So you got to make sure. And the only way you can really know whether any information is valid is that you have to take time out to understand what the foundation of what your job is. When you understand the foundation, it's no different than a marriage. If you're in a marital relationship, you know that, okay, here's some things that I'm supposed to do as a husband, what I'm supposed to do as a wife. And if I understand my role, however y'all want to define it, I'm not trying to tell you how to define it. Everything can float. But when you, as the man who's supposed to provide, and somebody's teaching you not to provide, somebody's teaching you to be a deadbeat, somebody's teaching you how to not take on a responsibility and to care for the kids, care for the spouse, or any of that, that causes problems in the household. So when you look at the information, your first thing I always do is I say, is this information going to cause problems in me? And if it causes a problem inside of me, it's going to cause a problem in my household. Because when I'm unable to do what I'm supposed to do correctly, when I'm doing things incorrectly and getting penalized for them, it's going to hurt my household. So I need to make sure that whatever you're telling me is not going to interfere with my household. And if you can't give me any confidence that what you're sharing with me is not going to hurt my family, you say, well, it works where I'm at. I get that it works where you're at, but do you know whether it'll work over here? Well, I don't know. You might as well. You see what I'm saying? So this is the concern that I have. And when I started operating like, let me make sure that you are being upfront and honest with me about it. So even though what you're telling me may not work in my, if you can at least tell me and say, hey, look, I don't know whether it'll work, but here's an idea. I can accept that rather than you're telling me I need to do something and there's no proof of concept that it'll work where I'm at. Because we all know every area is different. So to say what I do, what you're doing in California, what you're doing in Texas, what you're doing in Montana, that I, as a Virginia notary, should implement it. You see what I'm saying? Just like with Ron in in Virginia, Virginia notaries can do Ron for people in all 50 states. For me to teach that and tell other states that, yeah, you can do Ron for all 50 states, their state laws may not allow that. And to me, anybody who's doing any kind of teaching should put forth some effort to know whether or not that stuff can be done. You may not know everything, but when you come across, it's like, maybe I need to look into that. And that's the problem you have, is that the trainers aren't looking into whether or not what they're sharing is actually legit for you. And that's how you end up spending a lot of money and wasting money behind people who don't have good information for you to use. So if you're trying to grow your business, you truly do have to vet the information that's being shared with you. You can't be afraid to question the information or the person delivering the information. If you have a sinking feeling in your gut that something don't sound right, you need to trust that and you need to investigate it. If you're unwilling to investigate it, don't get upset and don't call all these other people when you realize that you just got taken advantage of and you just lost your money and you ain't getting it back. And now you're set back further than what you was before you ever tried to ascertain that knowledge. That's the most hurtful thing that I see out here, is when people are push back further in their business because they took the wrong information and they didn't take time out to vet it. They didn't ask questions. They didn't question nothing. They just like, hey, this person, hey, look at them. They making all this money. So it got to be true. It has to work. And it's like, yeah, it has to work for them, but it doesn't mean it won't work for you. So are there any questions, any concerns, anything? You said calling from Maine. You said period. That is right. So we don't have to be up here long, long, long. I did want to get up here because I wanted to share with y'all again. And thanks for those of you who have signed up for the training. Some people signed up this today and over the last couple of days. So I'm excited to work with y'all Saturday or Sunday, whichever one you decided to choose. You only have to pick one. You ain't got to do all three. If you truly don't understand how to fill out notarial certificates, what to do if something is wrong with a certificate, things of that nature. This training is for you. This training is really for you. If you're trying to question even just understanding the verbiage, because we go into it, we go deep into the verbiage to make sure you understand what those words in that notarial certificate mean. Because once you understand that, I promise you, you'll never have another problem doing it. And when you know you can do the notarial certificates confidently, you'll be like, hey, I'm gonna take that order. I'm gonna take that order. I'm gonna take that order. Because most people don't do orders because they're concerned about the notarial certificates. That's why a lot of notaries want the documents 4 hours or 2 or 3 days ahead of time so that they can look over the notarial certificate and try to figure it out. On top of trying to read through the whole, there are notaries out there that literally are trying to read the whole loan packet. I'm talking about each and every page in there, 185 pages, and they're literally reading every single page because they feel I need to understand what this page means, what that page means, all of that. And I'm like, you just need to know your notary part. But you think about it, they're spending 98% of their time trying to understand the document and only 2% trying to understand the notarial certificate. But 100% of their time with the person is for the notarial certificate. So if 100% of your time is for the notarial certificate, but you only spent 2% of the time trying to understand it, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. So that's what this training is for, is to help those people out. Say, man, I received a call from Old Republic title because I missed putting notice after my put Notary Public after my, yeah, they're trying to put me on pause for 30. Mm. See, something like that, they could just write that in for you. They could ask your permission, hey, can I write that? Because that's not something that's being notarized, all of that. And see, even with me, I don't even put notary public, I just put notary. On the deed, I put notary public. They said, why you put notary public? I said, well, I'm a notary. I mean, there's no other terminology or position. Notary, whether you say notary public, there's not like notary non-public. There's no notary under public. It's like notary public. If they insist on me putting public, okay, fine. I'll put public and I'll make note for y'all. I'll put public. But I've never been told, well, one time I was told to put it 3 weeks later. They called 3 weeks later tripping over that. Mm, mm, mm. Oh my goodness. Wow. Mm. I don't even that's wow. That's how some of these companies are. So notary certificate training will help you out. And like I said, if you know somebody who's struggling with them, cool. If you're solid with it and you know you're gonna and you understand it, You don't need to take the training at all. You don't need to take it. But what you do need to do, and this is everybody, is to make sure anybody who's going to educate you and teach you, they know what the heck they're talking about. And you have every right to question them. And the people who I try, they question. I'm like, question me. I don't have a problem with you grilling me, playing devil's advocate, all of that. We'll go back and forth and all of that. And I love the banter. I love it because this is how thoughts and you get it all out because people like to hold stuff in, but it's like, nah. And there's people who I talk to, they question me, and they're still, some people still talking about, well, we need to form a union. We can't form unions because we're independent contractors. We're separate business entities. So unions are for W-2 employees. So we can get an association. Well, we had the National Notary Association, but they're not going to represent us from the standpoint of trying to get better pay. They're not going to do it. That's not part of their business model. So you got to figure out a way to work it yourself. So and that's a whole nother thing. This whole thing of everybody talking about going after the title companies and lenders and demanding that they pay us. There's a way that you handle business, and public shaming is not the way. Because whatever you try to do to them, they can do to you. If you're trying to shame them into paying you more, then they can shame you in you going and you not doing your job. Well, going direct is not always higher pay. Depends. Going direct is not always higher pay because it depends on what their business model is and how they value what we do. And starting your own signing service, all that means is that you're just going to take money and pay notaries a lesser fee. So all of the problems that you are incurring with the signing companies as a notary, you're going to be on the flip side because now, I mean, unless you have some way of starting a signing service that's not going to do any of the questionable things that are being done, meaning you're going to pay people $150 a pop. So that means you got to find some kind of way to convince these same clients that are paying less to other signing companies to pay you more. And y'all pulling from the same pool of notaries. So how do you get Shaquanda and Frederico, who's doing bad with Earl's signing company, to then do good with you? How do you do that? It's not, and it's not your job to go out here and try to get new notaries and all of that. It's, hey, okay, here's a notary, and you hope that they're doing it right. You hope they're in a good mood that day. You only have a select few good notaries to work with. So now with the title companies, one of the things I've learned is that they're limited in how much work they can give you. My direct clients, maybe 5 to 6 appointments per month. If I'm doing almost 100, where are the other 95 coming from? Not direct clients. It's coming from signing services. So do I get higher pay? Yeah. But the higher pay doesn't equal the 8, 9, 10 grand that I need per month to take care of my family. It doesn't. So if what you can get out of them is 1,500, 2 grand, then where does the rest come from? So you can work and then with title, if there are delays in the closing, if there are delays, you got to stick with them. See, like the one I had this morning, with 9 o'clock, I was supposed to be closing. They didn't have the documents. I'm waiting, waiting, waiting. Then I told them to say, hey, look, I'm gonna have to y'all have to reassign it because I'm not going to be able to support this because I got other appointments that I have to do. They they said no problem. They took me off. When you're with a direct client, you they're dependent on you. You marketed to them and told them you will be there, and now they need you. And they say, hey, instead of 11 o'clock, this year closing is going to get pushed back to 3. Well, you got a 2:30, and it's 45 minutes away from them. You're going to have to let that 2:30 go so you can come back to them. Because if that title company doesn't have anybody else to depend on, so just like with this order here that I'm going to be driving 2 hours to, once we get that solidified, I'm locked in. So if they tell me, hey, it's going to have to get pushed back or to another day, no problem. And I've had closings with the same company get pushed out almost 2 weeks because of whatever. So when you're with a title company, you don't have the flexibility to just walk away unless they got some other notaries that they can depend on. But if it's a small operation, they're depending on you. You market it to them and say, I'm here for you. They said, we'll use you. Not a problem. Thank you very much. We got an order next Thursday at 9 a.m. Can you be here? Yeah, I'll be here at 8:30. You're there at 8:30. They get you the documents. You're ready to go. And then they say, oh, it's going to be delayed because they found some issues in the new construction that need to be fixed, and they're not going to sign anything until then. And they expect you to be there and ready to go when they say everything's clear to close. And it could be an hour, it could be 3 hours. What are you going to do? Now you got to deal with these other clients, and they're not paying you. They're not, and I've never had a title company that I'm working with a direct like, okay, because we made you wait, here's some extra money. Hey, this is a part of the business. Because one of the things y'all didn't realize, if the documents are late for you, they're late for other people. If the signers are late because they held up for whatever reason, it affects other people too. We're not the only people that get affected. And just because you think you should get paid extra for doing such and such, boom, the order got late or whatever. Sometimes those title companies they're not getting paid extra. And they're staying up late. They're getting up early to get the documents together just for you. Because if documents are late for the 4 o'clock appointment, I'm pretty sure it's going to mess up the 6 o'clock, it's going to mess up the 7 o'clock, and it could affect things the next day. Because if everything has to stop to fix this one order that you're doing at 4 o'clock, I promise you, if they're short staffed, where they're supposed to have 7, but they only got 3, it's going to affect other things. We don't see that, but common sense tells us it will affect other things. You don't care about that. You just care about doing what you got to do and getting paid. But a good person, a good business owner would care about what's happening with their clientele. And you say definitely have to keep a mixture though. Direct, sign and serve, that is correct. And that's what I do. And that's how I balance it out. So when you understand that, you can go out here and do this business. But the question is, what do you want to do? So many of you are spending money to learn how to do the business, and then you're not doing it. So even if you spend money and the training is good, everything is right, you're getting the answers, this is applicable to you and all of that, now you got to do it. So the biggest waste of money right now in growing a person's business is taking training, buying products, and never doing the business. So the more you do the business, the more you start seeing a return on your investment. But you won't see that return if you don't ever try to do the business. And there are a lot of people who are like, I'm gonna get there. Okay, well, I just want to take one more training. To do what? To learn what? I don't know yet, but I just want to take one more. I just something just telling me. No, that's fear. That's fear. Fear is telling you this to keep you from ever going out there and realizing your full potential or even partial potential. But you're making up reasons to not do work. So, any other questions, comments? I would love to hear from y'all. Any thoughts? Anything. So the bottom line is to grow your business without spending a lot of money. You got to make sure you know what your business is all about, the do's and don'ts. You got to evaluate the people who are trying to teach you and tell you and guide and direct you, whether it's for free or for money, that you have to get, compensation to them is free or for money. And then you got to go out there and do it. The more you don't do it, the more money you waste. So if you do the business, you generate revenue for the business. But if you don't do the business, you can't generate revenue. You're hoping somebody else is generating revenue that can slide you something, but you got to generate the revenue. That's what this is all about. We're in business to generate revenue, not to get pats on the back and help, and all of that stuff from, I don't care. You ain't never got to say you like me. Just pay me the money that I'm supposed to get paid for doing the job that I did. And if you can do that on a consistent basis, then we'll have a great relationship. That's how I look at it. All right. If there's nothing else, we're gonna end it. Been under an hour. And I'm going to just chill for a little bit. I think I'm literally gonna look at some Netflix and chill for probably till about midnight and just decompress and just get my mind off of notary stuff for a moment, get some great sleep, and then get up in the morning and go over my teaching materials and make sure that everything is squared away. And then there's a few new things that I want to add in there, and we'll be good. We'll be good. So thank y'all very much for tuning in tonight. I greatly appreciate y'all. Y'all saw the information. Look into the pinned I put it in the pinned comments, and look also in the description if you want to take the notary certificate training tomorrow at noon, Saturday at 3, then the 18th at noon. All right. So the 11th, noon, the 12th, 3 p.m., and then the 18th, which is on a Saturday, 12 noon again. And we'll get in here and get it going. And if you're interested in doing it on Columbus Day, this upcoming Monday, let me know. Just send me an email to that right there, and we'll figure something out and get y'all taken care of. But other than that, y'all probably can say, "Man, you look tired, Griff." Yeah, I am. But I'm still enjoying myself and loving this business, and I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. All right. So again, notary certificate training. I'm here to help y'all with that and everything else I can do. Y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all later. Peace.